Thank you for joining us for the 2020 Friday Medal Ceremony at North Carolina State University. I'm Hiller Spires, Director of the Friday Institute and Associate Dean in the College of Education. You know, normally we gather in Innovation Hall at the Friday Institute to have this annual event. This year, due to the pandemic, we're celebrating virtually. In recognition of the commitment of Bill and Ida Friday to educational excellence, we created the Friday Medal to honor significant, distinguished, and enduring contributions to education. Most of you know that our mission is to advance education through innovation in teaching, learning, and leadership. I want to give a quick shout out to the Friday Institute staff who have engaged and supported approximately 60,000 educators in our innovative online professional workshops, webinars, and courses since the pandemic hit us in mid-March. The Friday Medal Award is given annually to those who embody the mission and innovative spirit of the Friday Institute. This afternoon, we're delighted to honor Dr. Dudley Flood, a lifelong educator and advocate for equitable education in North Carolina. I want to take a few minutes and highlight special guests who are with us today. First, Bill and Ida's daughter, Mary Friday Ledbetter, and Virginia Taylor, Mr. Friday's longtime assistant. Thank you both for your family's dedication to education. We also have members of the Friday Institute Advisory Board: Ann Goodnight, Shelley Goldman, Ron Bailey, Tricia Willoughby, Kevin Howell, Keith Kruger, Jim Pellegrino, and former chair of the advisory board, Tom Houlihan. Ken Branch and Patrick Miller, superintendent of Greene County, are with us as well, and they are former recipients of the Friday Medal. We also have Chair Eric Davis with us from the North Carolina State Board of Education. Thank you to everyone for being with us and coming together to celebrate this special occasion. We're delighted to have Dean Marianne Danowitz and Chancellor Woodson with us today, and we're going to hear remarks from both of them. We'll start with the Dean, and then we'll go to our Chancellor.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Hiller. And thank you to all of you for joining us this afternoon. Today, we focus on one of the College of Education signature events. That is the awarding of the Friday Medal. And it is indeed an honor this year to be able to recognize this year's recipients, Dr. Dudley Flood. I can't think of a more deserving or worthy individual to honor than Dr. Flood, especially at this time when education faces unprecedented challenges that are related to COVID-19 and also racial injustices. Dr. Flood was instrumental in desegregating North Carolina's public schools, and he dedicated his career to championing the lifelong success of all students while pushing entrenched social and political boundaries. He epitomizes the legacy of Bill and Ida Friday, the namesake of this medal, and of the college's Friday Institute for Educational Innovation. Bill and Ida Friday were passionate advocates and leaders in education for over 50 years. And this medal recognizes outstanding leaders like them that have made exceedingly important contributions in improving education, and especially those committed to uplifting lives of all learners, with the focus on those from marginalized, oppressed, and low wealth communities. Like Dr. Flood and the Fridays, the College of Education and its Friday Institute work every day to do the same. Our college's vision is to increase opportunities for success in education and reduce achievement gaps, with the understanding that achievement gaps are not ability gaps, but they are gaps in opportunities. And we confront the state's most urgent and critical educational needs. This is done in an extremely important way through our Friday Institute. And as Hiller said, when the schools moved to at-home learning in March due to COVID, the Friday Institute fellow staff and research associates quickly identified needs and responded to develop a plethora of resources that were highly creative and responsive to the highest needs in North Carolina. And thank you, Dr. Spires, for your outstanding leadership with the Friday Institute, both as our founding director and now at this time. And a thank you to all the fellows, staff, and research associates who have supported our K-12 educators and students across North Carolina. During this time, you have certainly demonstrated why you've earned the reputation as an innovator, collaborator, and pioneer in K-12 education. Thank you for what you have been doing for K-12 educators and students since your wonderful building opened 15 years ago. But thank you especially for what you're doing during these very tough times. Your work and our entire college is even more critical to North Carolina's well-being now and in the future. So on behalf of our entire college, I want to thank Dr. Flood. He's the reason we're here today for this ceremony, and he's the reason so many K-12 students in North Carolina have had more equitable access to public education. We know, though, there's so much more work to do to reduce those opportunity gaps, to close wealth gaps, and to eliminate racial injustice in order to open up doors of opportunities for all learners. But I am hopeful because I've seen the impact that one individual can have on our entire K-12 educational system and the state. With his work to desegregate schools, Dr. Flood has touched the life of every child and adult who has gone through North Carolina's public schools over the last 50 years. What an extraordinary, extraordinary legacy. I am honored, Dr. Flood, to be part of this ceremony honoring you. And I look forward to hearing more about your impact on others. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our wonderful leader of North Carolina State University, Chancellor Randy Woodson.
Thank you, Dean Danowitz and Dr. Spires. Thank you for your tremendous leadership. You know, when I saw that we were honoring Dr. Dudley Flood today, this is where I had to be because he's such a phenomenal leader and one of the true gentlemen of North Carolina. And I'm proud to call him a friend. He was sitting there 11 years ago on the Board of Governors when, I don't know if you voted for me, Dudley, but I think you did. But either way, his leadership for this state has been truly something that's worthy of this honor. And Dean Danowitz, thank you for everyone in the College of Education. I want to lift up a few comments about the college. You know, we're proud to be one of 2 land-grant universities in North Carolina, and we're proud of that tradition and what it means to serve the people of the state. And the College of Education at NC State embodies our land-grant mission. When I think about the college and the Friday Institute and all the work we do across North Carolina to lift up all the hundreds of thousands of young people that attend schools throughout our state, it's truly inspirational. And our college is one of the national leaders in higher education in terms of producing the talent that this country needs. In fact, this past year, we were ranked 31st among all colleges of education in U.S. News and World Report's Best Graduate College of Education's ranking. And that's something that we're very proud of. And there are so many graduate schools in education. To be in the upper echelon is something that, Dean Danowitz, you and your faculty should be very, very proud of. You know, the college has worked very hard to address the workforce development needs in emerging fields across our state and to prepare future leaders with the skills and knowledge to turn around low-performing schools. to address literacy challenges and to prepare students with important STEM skills. We're a leader in STEM education, and particularly in science and math. And this is something we take a lot of pride in. In fact, last fiscal year, this college of education brought in over $30 million in grants to support this important work, which is among the top in the country. So this afternoon, as I said, we're recognizing Dr. Dudley Flood. What a phenomenal leader for what seems like centuries, at least Dr. Flood would say, but really these past 6 decades, he's brought so much vision and leadership to North Carolina. He was one of the few that was tapped to lead desegregation efforts in our state back in 1969, and we're the beneficiaries of that today. He traveled the state serving as a liaison between federal and local education officials, and because of his leadership, he gained the trust of so many across our state and enabled desegregation at a time when there was, as we all know, many, many challenges across our country. At NC State, we're guided by a resounding sense of responsibility to one another. Today, we recognize that such commitment, that it's so especially urgent in today's times. And we're committed to advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion, not just within our campus, but within the broader community. And the Friday Institute presents the Friday Medal each year to honor the memory of Bill Friday. And I think back to what he's meant to this university and to this state. And Dudley, you'll recall that that he always visited the Board of Governors when a new chancellor was appointed, even years after he retired. And it was an honor for me the day that I was elected to be sitting next to him and to hear Dudley Flood say, and this is a quote that I'll never forget, he said, "Well, it seems that everything's been said, it's just not everybody said it." And that's the way I feel right now about Dudley. Everything has been said, it's just not everyone said it. So it gives me a great honor to be part of this event today, to recognize someone that's meant so much to the state of North Carolina, and to honor the memory of Dr. Friday because of what he meant to our university and to our state. So congratulations, Dr. Flood, for this well-deserved honor, my friend.
Thank you, Chancellor. We appreciate your being here. You know, each year at this time, we select outstanding graduate students who are at the dissertation phase to become Friday Research Fellows. This year, we have 2 students receiving this honor, both from the STEM department in the College of Education, and Dr. Aaron Clark is the department head there. Each of these students will receive $2,000 to support their dissertation research. The first recipient is Arif Rahmatullah, a doctorate candidate with concentration in science education. His advisor is Dr. Eric Wiebe. Arif's research interests include computational thinking and modeling, instrument development and validation, evolution education, and the intersection between science and computer science. Our second recipient is Catherine Rindy. She's a former environmental journalist and science museum educator with over 10 years experience in teaching digital media and science literacy. Her advisor is Dr. Gail Jones. Her dissertation work is focused on social justice approaches to data and visual literacy in the classroom and explores how environmental and public health data are intersected by issues of power, inequality, gender, and race. Congratulations to Catherine and Arif. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move along now to continue with our tribute to Dr. Flood. You know, at the Friday Institute, we believe that education is transformative as we strive to increase equity through equity-mindedness. When I think of Dr. Flood, I'm reminded of the time-honored Nelson Mandela quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world." Dr. Flood has certainly embodied this spirit of change, having worked tirelessly for education in North Carolina. He's been a strong advocate for educational equity throughout his career and, just as important, an ongoing source of inspiration to the educational community. During his 21 years at Department of Public Instruction, Dr. Flood served as assistant and then associate superintendent. Since this time, he's been a lecturer and consultant for groups around the nation, serving on the North Carolina Minority Cancer Awareness Action Team, the Public School Forum of North Carolina Board, the Wake Education Partnership Leadership Council, the UNC Press Advancement Council, and many other boards and committees. Dr. Flood was inducted into the Educators Hall of Fame at East Carolina University, and in 2017, he was elected into the Raleigh Hall of Fame. Last month, the North Carolina Public School Forum announced the opening of its new Dudley Flood Center for Educational Equity and Opportunity. To continue our tribute to Dr. Flood, I'm honored to introduce the Honorable Judge David K. Baker, Sr. Judge Baker was appointed by Governor Cooper in May 2019 to be a district court judge for the 10th Judicial District of North Carolina after practicing law for 13 years. Judge Baker is a product of the North Carolina public school system. He completed his high school education at Athens Drive and went on to earn his Bachelor of Arts from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and his Juris Doctorate from North Carolina Central University. Judge Baker, we're so happy that you're here, and I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Spires, to Chancellor Woodson, and also Dean Danowitz, and to all the leadership at the Friday Institute. Thank you for this opportunity to offer a few thoughts about a man who is rightly regarded as an icon, a legend, a visionary, and a trailblazer in the field of education and beyond. Anyone who has had the pleasure of talking with Dr. Dudley E. Flood for even just a few moments realizes that there is something extraordinary about him. I will tell you, I personally consider him to be the most interesting man in the world. And I say that because he's multi-talented, exceedingly intelligent, he's wise, he is an amazing orator, and a great storyteller. And it's through those stories that I've had the opportunity to learn quite a bit about this man that I call my friend, brother, mentor, and leader. So, for example, I was surprised to learn that at one point in Dr. Flood's early life, he used to catch snakes in his hometown in Winton, North Carolina, as a means of serving his community while at the same time making some extra money. Now, on the occasion of the telling of this story, Dr. Flood was talking to me and a group of people, black and white, young and old, about how we could bridge the racial divide, making the point that we tend to fear that which we do not understand. Dr. Flood aptly pointed out that since the beginning of time, snakes have kind of gotten a bad rap, and that much of what we fear about snakes is based on misunderstanding and ignorance. It was a powerful lesson wrapped in a fascinating real-life story. Dr. Flood is masterful, and he's uniquely inspiring. So yes, I see Dr. Dudley E. Flood as the most interesting man in the world. And when I say he's a gifted orator and someone who's truly inspiring, consider this. On one occasion, Dr. Flood gave a pep talk so good that both teams won. Now, okay, of course, I'm kidding. Dr. Flood didn't just give a pep talk. It was actually a 2-hour lecture followed by a pep talk. Kidding aside, I have known Dr. Dudley E. Flood for more than 3 decades. Having known of him and watched him from a distance in my youth as a kid, growing up in Southeast Raleigh, to my adult years where we share a common bond through our fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Incorporated. And as men of Sigma, we try our best to live up to the ideals of brotherhood, scholarship, and service each and every day. And within our ranks, made up of tens of thousands of college-educated men, Dr. Flood stands out for his extraordinary leadership. Likewise, in the field of education, Dr. Dudley E. Flood is indeed a leader. The impact of his work in leading the desegregation of our public schools is immeasurable and profoundly significant. In preparing to make comments today, I asked Dr. Flood to tell me about his approach to such a monumental task. And I really wanted to know if he was as scared as I would have been if I had to traverse the state and engage with people who in many cases were in stark opposition to the very thing that I was trying to do. He told me that anything he's chosen to venture upon, including leveling the educational playing field, was because at his core, he believed it was the right thing to do. Not because it was popular, not because it was convenient or easy, but simply because it was right. As I consider the impact of Dr. Flood's work in education, one of my Sigma brothers, T. Anthony Pay, told me how he benefited from Dr. Flood's visionary leadership. Brother Pay is from Asheville, and in 1977, there was palpable resistance to integration within the Asheville City school system. And so to ease tensions, Dr. Flood led the implementation of a co-principal arrangement where responsibility was shared between a white school principal and a black school principal. And in this case, the black principal was a man named O.L. Sherrill. Well, my fraternity brother, Anthony Pay, credits his admission to his undergraduate institution in large measure to the fact that he had an opportunity to build a relationship with Principal Sherrill. And that came about only as a result of Dr. Flood's uncanny wisdom, leading to what we would probably now consider a peculiar arrangement. Since that time, Anthony Pay has gone on to earn 2 master's degrees. He works in executive leadership at a large corporation. And I share that just to show how Dr. Flood's legacy carries on to this day. That's just one account of the impact of Dr. Flood's work. But there are countless stories of students and teachers alike who have benefited from this insightful leader, myself included. Years ago, I came across a definition of leadership that intrigued me. And it's different than any other definition I'd ever heard before. And I think it appropriately describes Dr. Flood and his leadership. The definition was crafted by the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and he defined leadership as the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by passion, generated by vision, produced by conviction, ignited by purpose. Dr. Flood is clear about his purpose. He's an educator. He's a teacher. He shared with me that his earliest notion of going into education was in his 10th grade year of high school. And at that time, the young Dudley Flood didn't necessarily see himself as an academic all-star. But his 10th grade teacher, a man named Mr. McCaskill, persuaded him by way of setting high expectations that he could excel, that he could accomplish anything he set his mind toward. And upon seeing just how amazingly impactful one teacher could be in a student's life, Dr. Flood recognized the great power in teaching. Since that time, the thought of being an educator grew from a mere notion to a life calling. At the core of Dr. Flood's philosophy is the belief that people can and will do better if they know better, that education being common to all is the ground floor to closing the racial divide and opening the doors of opportunity and advancement to all. So, although Dr. Flood has retired from his formal role as an educator, he's still leading, still teaching, and for that I'm grateful. I have another brother named Terrence Blackwell who's also an educator. He was in a professional development training just yesterday where one of Dr. Flood's quotes was highlighted, and I want to share that with you. Dr. Flood said, and some of you may have heard him say this, he says, children may not become what you think they are or what they think they are. They tend to become what they think you think they are. That quote is born out of Dr. Flood's real life lived experience. And I'm so glad that he chose to frame that and share that. And that is still continuing to influence teachers to this day. So I say he's always teaching, and not just with his words, but also with his actions and the way he carries himself. Dr. Flood and I have a mutual friend named Chad Griffith. And Chad has a close relationship with Dr. Flood as he seeks his counsel on a regular basis. And Chad is in the community and he's trying to make the community a better place for everyone. Chad told me that one of the best tokens of knowledge that he learned from Dr. Flood was to be consistent in first seeking to understand before being understood. So in watching Dr. Flood, Chad has observed that this is something Dr. Flood has mastered, the art of listening intently and understanding other people's perspective before responding with his own thoughts. Another friend, Dexter Hebert, who serves as the executive director of the Southeast Raleigh YMCA, where Dr. Flood serves on the advisory board, said that he's learned from Dr. Flood the importance of patience and persistence as he goes about his work in dismantling unjust systems that stifle upward mobility. Both Chad and Dexter are relatively young men, and they're taking lessons that they learned from Dr. Dudley Flood, and they're using them to impact their communities in powerful ways. Like Chad and Dexter, and so many of you, it's been my great pleasure to know this great man. From him, I've been able to watch and learn what it means to be a gentleman and a scholar, to lead with integrity and to lead with love, to speak up for what's right without ever having to shout anyone else down, to be able to sit with kings but never lose the common touch, to be proud of one's accomplishments, yet never too much, to never lose hope, to keep the faith, always, always believing that your purpose is to make this world a better place. So here's to Dr. Dudley E. Flood, an icon, a trailblazer, a master educator, and this year's recipient of the Friday Medal. Dr. Flood, I thank you.
Judge Baker, thank you for those words. Thank you for that inspiring tribute. We really appreciate your being here with us. Now we're going to hear from the man of the hour, Dr. Flood himself. So I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Flood.
I'll do my very best to see if I can be composed enough to have a word to say. First of all, let me take the personal privilege of thanking all of you have taken your time away from very important things to share this moment with us. Let me be personal, and yes, Randy, I did vote for you. Not only did I vote for you, but I've defended your reputation ever since I've been here. Because as much as we kid each other, I don't know anybody who I respect more. And I'm satisfied we've never had a better chancellor anywhere than you. And so thank you so much for taking the afternoon. Dean, you've been so kind as to share time with me on the Public School Forum Board and other places. And more than that, you also employed one of my students, Dr. Lee Stiff. And one of my great merits in life is that I taught Lee in the middle school And when he left middle school and went to high school, I left middle school and went to high school. He says I followed him. But I'm so proud of that because you are all aware that Socrates taught Plato, and then Plato taught Aristotle, and then Aristotle taught Socrates. Lee has taught me way more than I ever taught him. And I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for your having brought him into your midst. And then all of the persons who are on your advisory board are people that I've depended on for guidance and help and support. And of course, Ann was with me on the board and always managed to sit next to her when I could. And so it's a homecoming to have this. But let me focus a minute or two on David, because I see him almost every week and we talk every week. And I wish he had given me a copy of what he just had to say. I couldn't help but remember David when, back in the days when I was traveling a fair amount, I had an occasion to go out to Salt Lake City and speaking to a group in which I was the only person of color there. There had some 12,000 people in the stadium. And the gentleman who had brought me in by phone, and he didn't even know he had a man of color until I got there. And he saw the need to really over-introduce me. Some of his credibility was riding on that. And as he had done so for about 5 minutes, there was a lady sitting on the front row. And I heard her whisper to the person next to her and say, you know, in a minute, they're going to tell me that he was born in a log cabin. I couldn't pass that up when I stood. I said, ma'am, I heard your remark, and I was not born in a log cabin. I was born in a manger. I don't think she believed that, and I hope you don't, but it's close. But I'm so grateful for this exposure on the part of David to the personal side of me, because I don't get to do personal things that often. I'm almost always working. But let me say to you that my association with education has been a happy marriage. It's where I belong, and I've felt in place all the time. I've never wondered, except when I was coming up, I wondered about all the other things that were options, but I never came upon something that I thought can make any more sense in the way of a contribution than education. President Friday was a very good friend of mine, and President Fire, as most of you know, was an attorney by training. He chose to spend his time in education. He chose that. And so he didn't get dragged into it by happenstance. He thought the best contribution that he could make was through education. And yet I had many conversations having to do with both higher education and K through 12. And in every instance, it was clear to me that that was his passion. And so we certainly had that in common. And the other thing which I'm very certain we had in common was I don't think he ever met a person he didn't like. And I assure you that is true with me. I've never met a person, didn't say I liked every element, every action of them, but I really don't hate anybody, never have. And I think that has been helpful to me in navigating the waters that I've been able to navigate. This experience compels me to say that it extends my interest in those things that you referenced. It extends it. You know, I'm old enough now to go somewhere and sit down. And I have family members who keep reminding me of that. And they want to know, when will you be through? And I said to them, I learned a lesson, and I'll close with this thought. And this is a true story. A lot of the true stories I tell, I make them up. But this really happened. My older brother, who was 9 years my senior, fought in the Second World War, stayed in the Second World War throughout it. And of course, I was invited to come to the Korean War. And he chastised me. He said, you know, we've only won one war in this country. And we won that for a specific reason. He said, when your crowd went, you went to serve a period of time. They gave you 21 months. And that was a period of time which you were there to serve. So the day you got there, you started counting backwards, 21, 20, 19, 18. There's some truth in that too. But he said, when I went, we went for the duration. We were going to be there until the job was done. Well, you know, I thought about that. I didn't get an education for a tour of duty. I got an education for the duration. And until either I'm not here or all the problems are solved, I'm going to be in education. I'm going to be doing something that makes it better for somebody every day that I live. And I promise you that. And that is why I accept this medal with honor, because I know that is what it represents. It represents continuity and purpose and continuing to do what you think will make this world a better place. So I'm honored and I thank you. And I thank each of you for your attendance here today. Thank you.
Yeah, let's give Dr. Flood a round of applause.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Now, earlier this week, Marge Santoro from the Friday Institute went to Dr. Flood's home and delivered the actual medal. And so we were asking Dr. Flood if he would be willing to hold it up so the audience can see it. There we go. Thank you so much. It's great. We come now to a special treat, the next part of our ceremony. We're going to have a vocalist performance, and it'll be by Marsha Bailey Curtis and Sinitria Mason. And they're going to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Truly an honor. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty.
Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us.
Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us.
Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you so much. We appreciate both of you. What a special treat for us today. You know, Dr. Flood, we don't get to see you every day, but we do say your name almost every day, sometimes multiple times during the day. because we have the Dudley Flood Gallery that was named in honor of you by Dr. Lee Stiff. And so we have a very special place in our heart for you, and we're so glad that we're connected even with that flood gallery. We appreciate the fact that you accepted the medal. We honor you, we honor your life, and we appreciate so much how you inspire us. It's been a great ceremony. Thank you for being with us, everyone, to celebrate Dr. Flood today. We hope everyone stays safe during the pandemic, and we hope you have a great evening. Thank you so much.